And one nice looking intro later, we've got 70 star. With me today on co-coms is Badronis. I am Electric, and we're about to watch this race between Copitz and Drogie. Badronis, how are you feeling about this race? What are your thoughts today?
I'm very curious to see mainly like what kind of form these two players are in. You know, Drogie's someone who has some stars where he's an absolute specialist on, almost everything in DDD, some things with like SL Reds, and some of the miscellaneous like flying or swimming stars are just elite from him. Whereas Kopitz is kind of more all around. But in the 70 star tournament that we had late last year, they both made some pretty drastic mistakes. They were, I think, in the same group. I should actually have checked that, but I believe they were in the same group with Shands and someone else. But Kopitz did not have a good showing that last tournament, so we'll kind of see if he's able to turn it around and pull out a good race time. Where Drogie, he could be all over the board. He could get like a 50, he could get like a 54. You never know. Kopitz will probably be somewhere in the middle.
Definitely think Copitz has the consistency card in this case, but I mean, if Drogie's playing at his absolute best, I'm not sure Copitz is going to have an easy path to victory here. That's definitely for sure.
I think as far as consistency goes, it has a lot to do with how much Copitz is playing. So like if he's not played at all like the last month, I don't have very high hopes, but if he has been, then I think he has a good shot at this. So we're just here in the intro. We'll probably see both of them start out with the same route. I would imagine they will go for the WOMS 9, probably HMC early, CCM 17. We'll kind of have to see that route progression. And 2 good Lactu skips, so off to a good start.
You have nobody deciding to go ahead and bribe the Lakitu. We've seen that kind of sway the way that races have gone in the past for whatever reason, but both these guys going into BOB. Let's see how their bomb clips end up going. Not expecting any sort of island hopping or any of that other shenanigans.
Yeah, definitely just gonna be the standard bomb clip. A couple people will try to do the backflip bomb clip. I know Drogie can do it. I don't think he will try it.
Yeah, it looks like neither of them trying it. Just going for tried and true method there. We can already see
a very good angle.
Oh yeah, but it's a little bit hard to tell because we've already got that traditional Copitz resolution. So buckle your seatbelts, folks.
I didn't mean to cut you off. What were you about to say?
Oh, I think that was actually what I was about to point out. Was just Copitz's display looking a little bit fuzzy. Not a whole lot of data moshing this time around though. Used to you'd see a lot of glitch art on his side of the screen, but looks like that's tamed at least a little bit of itself. Now, chat, I want to see some numbers. I want to see some speedrun clocks, speedrun fire. I just want to see a bunch of random spam and maybe some numbers starting with 12. I'm going to go ahead and say a 12-8 for this guess. What do you think?
12-7? 12-8. So 1-0 Electric here. But Copitz missing the blue coins, which he's not going to be able to make the cycle anymore. That's kind of tragic. I don't think he'll be able to get it, but he's going to go for it anyway.
Oh, and taking it. He's definitely not getting it now. Wow. That was a pretty big blunder of a dive right there. Let's see how Drogie ends up faring here. And
Copitz kind of actually going for a half cycle. I don't know about this. Yeah, Copitz was so ambitious.
Too much. Trying to save at least a little bit of face and just losing it all right there. So now he's taking... Is this like the third cycle that, like 2 cycles after the one that he meant to grab?
Yeah, 2 cycles later.
Something like that. And if you can think of how much that, or how long that wheel takes to spin, you'd know how much time he's just lost. Meanwhile, Drogie with that beautiful Owlus. So both of them kind of taking different approaches to this stage. Copitz deciding to start with 100, which I think is kind of an interesting decision. I tend to prefer where runners will do either cannonless or owlless, then 100, then close off with the other. I tend to find that makes them just more consistent generally. They I think are just more ready for Womps after doing one of those stars that they've grinded so much time into that it's basically just clockwork for them.
Yeah, and maybe, but Drogie has not had any kind of readiness for what Cannonless has been throwing up. Like, he can't even get to the plank where you see the most of the mistakes happen. So first of all, he was going off of the tree. he didn't make it up on the ramp. He actually fell off, which I don't know if you caught. But then he got back on the ramp, did an accidental ground pound instead of a long jump, had to kind of reset his angle. And then on the subsequent long jump, he bonked on the fence, which you almost never see happen because people are usually so much farther to the left. But I don't know how that sequence of events played out for Drogie, but that was not something you see very often. And Coach missing Owlets twice in a row. This is not good for either of them. Neither of them are having a good Wumps. Copitz, third try is good.
In many races, either of these players' mistakes would be huge. Would be the result of, or they would result in a huge lead for the other side. But this time around, they're both going tit for tat. It looks like. I wouldn't be surprised if they come out of Wumps pretty close to each other.
Yeah, and Drogie with another bonk in his 100 coin. It's kind of like a scrappy boxing match where they're just kind of each throwing digs in, and they're not fighting pretty. It's just kind of nasty, and they're trying to get through it. Like, who's gonna break first?
It's like a boxing match where every punch you throw, you're getting about half of one back, is kind of what it looks like to me.
Yeah.
And so, it looks like Drogie is just about through the gauntlet. Remember, he did go in the slide first, so they're actually about even with star count. Interestingly enough.
Copitz's screen is looking a bit glitchy for me.
Yeah, having a few issues with. I haven't seen his screen ever do this, where it's like scanning up like that. Normally, it's just if you go watch like the Lamborghini High music video, you'll know what I mean when I say data moshing, like glitch art. Like it'll be like Mario is in the middle of the screen, and then when Mario moves left, instead of it moving Mario left properly, it'll like take the pixels that made up Mario in the middle and just shove those to the left. And so you get this like weird like blurred effect with it almost looks like a mouse trail. It's kind of cool, not gonna lie. But it does make actually observing and commenting a little bit more challenging.
Yeah.
But what is never a challenge, obviously, is this Big Daddy Wump up here, which Copitz makes short work of, and Drogie we see doing about the same. And we've said it so many times, but this guy's in bad shape. I don't see why he tries to take on Mario at this point, regardless of how unfair Mario is to him. At some point, you just got to cut your losses and just be done. Copitz, meanwhile, having a bit of trouble just getting up the ramp. Let's see how this top of the Fortress Star goes for him.
Pretty clean.
And we have seen a couple of players somehow do something weird with that side flip on the end and end up falling off the tower right at the end, which is just super tragic, but not for Copitz, not today.
Copitz's Wumps 8 time was like about what you would see from like a good Wumps 9.
Yeah.
Where, like someone like Cheese would get like a 650, Copitz at like a 647 or something, which is, I think Cheese could even get better than that, who knows?
Right.
A big spill on 100 coin was most of the time loss, but it's crazy.
So now we see Copitz going in for his first slide, Drogie in for the second. Well, let's go ahead and see some more of those emotes and some guesses. You know, I know I didn't give you a lot of time last time, but I'm thinking Copitz is going to pull out a 12-7. Drogie going to have something happen, cause like 13-0.
All right.
And we see Copitz already with a 13-1.
I'd say 12-9 for Drogie. Might be kind of late to call. Oh, 12-8. Yeah.
Drogie with the reliability here, you know, commentator not even looking at the script, but he should have just assumed that Drogie would be consistent with that. No reason for him not to be. Oh man, did you see that on Copitz's screen? I don't know if that was just on my end or not.
No, that was for me as well.
It was like he had parts of 6 or 7 different frames on the screen at the same time. So now Drogie's in the hardest stage of the game, the wing cap stage. And let's see. First arc looking decent.
Yeah, a little bit shaky up here in the skies, but he's managing to get all the coins, which is, of course, the most important thing, where missing a few will definitely make you lose a lot of time to double back. Oh, going for a fast roll off of the switch, that was clean.
That was beautiful. And I mean, the bigger thing with his movement was that he was spending so much more time going up or down than sideways. Because the weirdest thing about flying in this game and the hardest thing to compensate for is just you never want Mario to be horizontal. He almost always slows way down when he's horizontal.
Yeah. Copitz having some decent arcs as well. Probably not going to go for the ambitious rollout off of the switch like Drogie did.
Yeah, I certainly doubt it. And we see Drogie in Dark World. Let's see what kind of cycle he decides to go for here. Looks
Yeah,
like just a
almost
standard
100%
Shig.
Shig.
Yeah, I'd be surprised if we saw anyone either just go ahead and say no to Shig or even just try to go for Zaya. This race, with the lead that Drogie has, it doesn't warrant either from either side.
Yeah, there's only a couple people who are confident enough in Zaya to do it in a race, and that's like do whatever, like Lunar Jump, even though he's not in this league.
And Zaya himself.
And probably like, yeah, might as well. So it's really only a company of a few who's actually feeling like that second is probably going to be more consistent than going for Shig and losing that second, because there's so many better ways to save time in a race. It's almost
That is
never worth
true.
it.
It's certainly true.
Copitz. Yeah, he took an amp, so he's going to be hard pressed to make. Well, he can't make Shig. He'll just have to wait for normal cycle. Oh, but this is kind of scary, going to make the cheese block earlier, and this long jump is nuts. Copitz being saved by the movement of these diamond platforms. I don't think he even knew what he was doing. And
Yeah,
this
that was
just
a
some kind of like ad-libbing.
That was like a blender cycle. That was. Can we just call that the Copitz cycle? Because I mean, it kind of matches what's happening on his screen, just kind of jumbled together.
Yeah, it's almost like he had to touch every single, like all four of those rotating platforms there. I think he did.
I think
like,
the more
sliding from one to another.
The nicer name would be the hopscotch cycle, I guess.
That's fair.
And I mean, both of them with a good Dark World fight, though. That's something you never want to see, is someone miss this first Bowser throw, or either make it go off the platform or just too shallow. I don't think I've seen the former yet, but I've seen so many people, they're trying to optimize how exactly they're turning the stick, and they end up just going a little bit too shallow. It's like just a half turn. You don't even have to actually throw Bowser, and he'll still hit the bomb afterward. So beautiful island hop from Drogie, though. No major problems with him. Let's see if Copitz can match.
Oh, a slippery butt slide off of the fence. You know, someone waxed that thing pretty good recently. You know, I don't know who it was.
I mean, if you look, you see all those like jagged, sharp edges on those railings. Somebody has to wax the just crud out of them. I mean, if they weren't waxed, imagine putting your hand on it to actually use it as a guide rail. Like, you'd be filled with splitters.
Yeah, that's a fair point.
And you see Drogie with that very... Oh! Spoke a little bit too soon. That was... That had the potential to be just picture-perfect execution, but unfortunately, it's not the wall kicks that failed him. I think it was just the diving that failed him there. Yeah. But
actually...
If you had to choose a way to fail that star, though, that's pretty much the way you'd choose, because he didn't go all the way back to the bottom, so that's good.
Yeah, I guess so. There's like an even better like backup where if you make the dive and you like miss the star, though, you can just like turn around on the slope part and jump right into it. But that's like kind of like a very late error in the star. Whereas if you're actually gonna mess up like something major, that's probably what you'd want it to be. Copitz got a really nice wall kicks will work though.
Synchronized painting exits, they're just a penguin star between each other. And that penguin, you know, I'll be real, I don't think I've ever seen a major mistake on it. I mean, yes, of course, all that stuff about jinxes and all of that, but I've never seen a major mistake on penguin, so I'd be shocked if Copitz were the first.
Yeah, I have not seen one either.
I think it's just the angle that you're sliding at is very lenient overall.
Yeah, you'd have to... Like, and you have a lot of air control as well. You'd have to specifically tilt your stick so he falls off the edge or something like that, or you get walk of shame. And we also have the route difference coming out. Drogie opting for CCM 17, where Copitz doing CCM 18. He wouldn't got subsiding away on its own, which means Drogie and Copitz will be splitting up. I don't think Drogie will be going for double plus, so we'll see him do HMC early, whereas it's up to Copitz still.
Yeah, I for anyone that does CCM 17, I always kind of internally hope for a double plus, just because the HMC late, I think, is such a valuable addition to the 70 route that it kind of is a shame to see people bypassing it. But at the same time, the consistency that you get from just putting in another star instead of that second plus, I think is really understated. So it's up to Drogie what he does here. I haven't watched him enough personally to know what he prefers. Copitz already missing 1 coin on the slide here. I didn't see his
He
entrance
almost
total.
took the shortcut.
That
So I
was
didn't
really
eject, but
close.
that was close.
Oh yeah, no, that was. I'm kind of surprised he didn't actually fall right in there. It's a little bit hard to judge where the opening on the wall is since it's not shown
Yeah.
at all, but he looked like he at least partially kind of peeked in there. But nice coin total. Missing that one in the early section caused him to be able to go ahead and grab all of them towards the end there. Really, after that line where you have to jump to start an arc, that's really, I think, the biggest place you see people miss a coin, if ever. Because that 1 coin at the start of the arc is just so hard to grab.
Yeah, you only have a few frames to actually jump and get it. Where if you just want to be safe and you jump pretty early, like you have almost forever to make the jump. So it's like you do it enough and you can get that last coin, but like it's definitely the easiest one to miss. And you can also wait too long and just not jump at all, in which case your run's dead, and that's pretty disappointing.
And see, that's the biggest thing that I think is a shame about that coin's position is just it's so close to the edge of that platform that you could very easily wait just a tad too long, grab it, and then not get any of the arc. I think it would have been a lot better design-wise if Nintendo would have just removed that coin and moved the arc back just a little bit.
Probably. There's a lot of things where coins are just super inconvenient to try to grab, like in the all coins route, there's just some like almost unfair things that you have to get where you'll probably just spend like an hour trying to get it almost. Like that's
In
an
the all coins
exaggeration,
route,
but it's crazy.
do you have to get that 5th coin in THI in that one line?
Like the impossible coin?
Yeah.
You don't have to get the impossible coin, but there's one like halfway in the ground that you can still get with to do.
Oh, okay. Wait, are there 2 in THI? Because I may be thinking of a different one then.
No, it's THI. There's the coin that's like completely impossible to get, which is like underneath the cannonball opening, and then there's one that's kind of like hidden in the grass. Like it's not like peeking out really, you can't see it, but you run over it.
I know which one you're talking about now. Okay, I was thinking that the other one was the impossible coin. I don't know.
Yeah.
But
Oh,
yeah,
Drogie pillarless though.
that
See
coin
what
is
he's
still
got.
fascinating to me. But enough of that as we watch. Very clean entrance there. Wow.
Yeah, really good control over his angle, where it wasn't the absolute best starting off, but like when he re-grabbed the bomb, he got it right, and then going up the pyramid, he was able to control it very well.
Yeah, it
The
looked
boot,
as
so-
if he clipped like right into the corner, which is exactly what you want to see.
Yeah, very optimal play.
And I'm
He's
pretty
known
sure
for
based on the
being very op-
I'm pretty
Go
sure
ahead.
based on the camera too that he actually like went into the hole as soon as he could have. Because the camera
Yeah,
was
like-
actually a bit lower than I think I've ever seen it.
Well, I think he Mario cammed or something, because like the camera usually doesn't like go inside the pyramid as you drop, which is
Must
kind
have
of weird. I
Mario
was wondering about that too. Maybe he didn't, and he was just like a very specific place that he ground pounded from. But yeah, usually. Oh, Copitz missing Mips though.
Oh, that is.
And
oh man.
trying to lure Mips to the safety grab spot, but instead just going for a wild ride here, unable to really secure the bunny until now. And lose a bit more time here. And Drogie
Yeah, and he-
not doing double plus, so he's just gonna be heading right into LLL and doing HMC early, which is what I expected. You were saying earlier that like Drogie, like you don't know what route he's going for. He's the guy who will go for Toxic Maze and SL Reds, partly because his SL Reds is so good, and also because people who want to be more consistent, kind of eliminate some like variants, will just do that route because there's a few ways that you could. Oh, Copitz? That was a bit weird. As I was saying, like, you can miss MIPS, which will be, like, a decent time loss if you're doing HMC late, and also, CCM 18 gives you a huge chance of losing the run if you miss coins.
Oh
So I
yeah, no
understand
doubt.
it.
Yeah, and I mean, I certainly don't think that the HMC early route is a bad decision by any means whatsoever. I think it's really just like from a viewer standpoint almost.
Oh,
Copitz
Copitz.
with that pillarless death. No. This is not what he
Going-
needs right now.
Going down in the sands, you know, reaching up for air, but none to be found. Copitz is kind of being suffocated in this whole early game. I don't think he's had very many good stages. Like Dark World and like Wing Cap were fine, but like, you know, he's had troubles in Womps, SSL here, missing MIPS. You know, this run's really not going well for him, and I kind of was saying in the pre-race, like, if he's not playing much, you know, I don't think Copitz is. Oh,
and another
second
death there,
from
right?
Copitz trying to do an ambitious backup. But...
See, here, I was just waiting for you to kind of stop for just a sec to point out how bad his pillarless attempt was going, and it just kept getting worse.
Yeah.
That was, man, and I'm really confused. I guess I didn't look over quickly enough. Why was it that he decided to go to Talon first like that? Did he have the bomb fail like he just did right here?
Yeah,
Or, okay.
but he was just a tiny bit late.
Which, I'm pretty sure the other races I've seen from Copitz, he's had these same issues with pillarless, just not at all consistent for him whatsoever.
Yeah, what I was trying to say earlier is that he was, like, probably not been playing that much recently, and having to do, like, a 2-frame, like, big bomb grab is probably not, you know, very... It's not very, available in his muscle memory here, where someone like Taigo, who's been playing quite a bit lately, or even just someone like Cheese, who's played for so many years, has probably just got that down pat, even if he's not practiced it recently. And Copitz is just gonna take the L and take the shell.
Take the L and take the shell. I really like that. And I mean, with a trick like that, and you really have to remember, just keep reminding yourself that this game is actually in 60 FPS. I've talked a lot with Shift, the Battle for Bikini Bottom runner.
Yeah, I'm so glad this is in 60 FPS. We'd be completely screwed.
But he's talked about, like, the reason he's able to be remotely consistent with 60 FPS tricks is just by doing them day in, day out. And he said he's noticed if he just takes one day off, everything's ruined. And so definitely fair about with Copitz here. If he hasn't practiced pillarless in a while, that's probably what resulted in what we just saw here. I think that was 5 or 6 attempts that just went nowhere.
Yeah, Copitz is not doing well. He's probably kind of thinking to himself, you know, why am I doing this? Why are we still here? Just to suffer.
You know, maybe his time has just been split too much between different games.
That's a good one.
I try. For those not familiar, Copitz ran a game at GDQ called Time Splitters 2, so commentators have all the puns.
I was about to say something. I don't think it was a pun, but I guess I forget now.
I mean, Drogie had that really nice triple box jump, so it may have had something to do with that, but at this point, your commentator's seen a little bit too much Mario today. Things that should be impressive, not quite as impressive. Ooh,
yeah,
that...
Drogie just...
Oh, Copitz handled those triple bullies pretty nicely. That last kick looked kind of... I don't know if it was just Copitz's video feed, but it looked like that last bully went off screen really fast.
You could be right, but I think it is a set speed when you hit them. I don't think there's anything you can do to, like, speed it up. In the meantime, Drogie's just been chugging along in basement. No real major mistakes that I noticed in Lethal Lava Land. And, I mean, he might have had a few while Copitz was struggling with Plus, because that was obviously, like, kind of the main thing to watch at that point, but, you know, he's really picked it up since Swamps, and Copitz has kind of been continuing the trend of being, like, very shaky, like, 1 star good, 1 star bad, and it's not going to be good enough.
Not at all. I mean, we're going to need to see some pretty major mistakes from Drogie throughout the back half of this run in order to see Copitz really have a chance, especially if Copitz keeps playing the way that he does right now. So, entering the volcano
have a good lava boost.
Yeah, really solid there. If he can clench out the rest of this LLL, you know, I don't think he'd maybe be... I'm not sure how Drogie did, so I don't know if he'd be making up time, but he's certainly not going to be losing anymore. And with this elevator star going well, there's not a whole lot that could still go wrong in Triple L. That elevator star, it's pretty simple until you get to that final rollout. I've seen so many people fail that last rollout in so many different creative ways.
I like the adjective creative, you know, like, anything that you could conceive to fail the ending to that star, has just happened to people. And it's pretty funny, but also pretty heartbreaking.
Oh yeah, no doubt heartbreaking. Drogie with the interesting punch there. I think he was trying to do a dive movement and it just wasn't happening.
Yeah. He rubbed up against the wall too much.
Yeah, and that's something that in this game, in so many Nintendo games really, the movement that you perform off of a button press depends on your speed. And so it can be really tricky sometimes to actually get the movement out that you want to get out if your speed just happens to be just on that threshold. In particular, kicking and diving, I believe, are the exact same inputs. It just depends on your speed, which one actually comes out. So if you ever see someone kick and you're like, why didn't you just dive there? That's actually why. They really didn't have any control over it. Maybe if they went like a frame or two later, something different would happen, but typically no. And both these guys... Oh, go ahead.
The last 2 stars Copitz did in LLL were really, really good. Like, he did the chip along jump strat for Reds, which was a little bit slower, but the execution of that was great. And then the wing cap star was really clean on the ending as well. And Drogie, I thought he actually missed the second chest where he does these turns like so optimally. Like, I thought he missed it, but he just kept going, and I'm like, did he touch it? Did he touch it? So it's like I was all half expecting the third chest to zap him, but he actually did touch it. So it wasn't like the best chest from him, but like it's always like crazy how narrowly he hits these hitboxes.
Drogie definitely
his chest shape. Yeah.
Oh, I was gonna say Drogie's put the time in on DDD, and it's showing right now. That is for sure. Nice little rear sub from him. I wonder, I doubt it, but I wonder if we would see a front sub attempt from Copitz just to try to make up at least some time. But I doubt it, especially if he knows, and he is in the Discord call, so he can definitely see the deficit. I don't know. I don't know what I would call for if I were him. Looks like he's pretty well committing to rear sub already, going towards the right side of this tunnel.
Yeah, I would say if you're down a little bit and you're playing someone really good, it's like that's when you say, okay, maybe I have to just go all out, do everything I know how to do, and just it's not gonna happen every time, but if I get like that 1 run out of 10 where everything goes pretty well, it doesn't have to be perfect, but pretty well, I'll save time. But at this rate, you're so far behind. It's like, why would you try to back up losing time by my mentality is usually like, if you fail doing something you know how to do, why would you try to make up for it by doing something you don't?
Right, so. And that's very good logic, but unfortunately in a racing scenario, good logic maybe goes slightly out the window at least. Drogie, though, making really great time on these reds here.
He almost got lava boost, but he fell down trying to get the 4th one. You need to get a double jump and then 2 wall kicks, but Drogie able to make early cycle at least, and Copitz is going to join him in piracy, but Copitz is actually way farther behind. He did not do HMC at all.
Right, and that's a huge thing that like
getting burned.
Normally you'll see people with an artificial lead when one person does HMC early and one person doesn't, but it's definitely not looking good for Copitz. Oh man, Copitz with that bonk there, ruining his chances of an early cycle. I can't tell based on his video resolution, but he may have actually missed that red too, which would just be completely heartbreaking. And he did. Wow. Okay. Man.
Well, that stinks.
Copitz just... He needs not only some pretty big losses from Drogie, but he needs just to put his head on his shoulders, honestly.
I think he's gonna
missing
grab
that
by a
point.
chugga. How has he missed it again? I can't even believe what I'm seeing right now, Copitz. I mean, like...
He's missed it a 3rd time! He's having to just keep going back for it.
I'm gonna make normal cycle.
We really need to ask him in the post-race interview how much Mario he's been playing recently, because this kind of looks like the gameplay of someone who maybe just picked the game back up after a pretty substantial break.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking, and probably have to see what Copitz has to say about it, but as far as D2 goes, you can definitely turn it around. Copitz is definitely a good enough player, but he's gonna have to play a bit more than just showing up to each race.
It's gonna
'Cause
have to
there's
be one of
some
those
pe- there-
situations where instead of changing Hori's for this Bowser fight, he's gonna need to change his brain.
Yeah.
That is for certain. I mean, you have a decently long cutscene to do it. From the time you do that dive into the funnel there to the time you actually have to put an input in for final Bowser, or sorry, Bowser in the Fire Sea. You know, I think you have a decent enough time to perform full neurosurgeon operations. Could be wrong. Nice
You probably
100.
get like,
Oh, go ahead.
yeah, joke. No, I wasn't really gonna say much. You know, Drogie's been off to a pretty decent amount of Dry World, and Copitz is only just now gonna finish up his Fire Sea. So Drogie with a commanding lead here, and despite having kind of a bad early game, he's picked it up.
Yeah, picked it up by far. 4-star lead, full HMC ahead. This is not looking too hot for Copitz at the moment.
Drogie's missed 1 point, so he needs all 5 from the Chucky here. Probably won't go for that throw, might turn him a little bit. Oh, that's fine. Good RNG from the coins. You know, sometimes, like, it looked like he had plenty of space to throw the Chucky, but sometimes the coins will just go, like, flying off to the left, which kind of sucks.
Yeah, it's really completely random. I believe I've read somewhere that the game performs 3 separate calls to the RNG function every time it needs to spawn a coin. So the Y, X, and Z movement can be entirely random. Like you could just have all 4, or you could have 4 of them stay in the same spot and then just have one fly ridiculously far away. So it's even though you have pretty ample room to throw the thing and you should have a good splash range, it could just go completely wrong still.
It would definitely make sense from the things I've seen. I don't know if that's... Like, I don't know that myself, but that sounds about right.
It's really surprising. Definitely, if you're interested, to spend some time over on Panon Coex, especially his second channel, Uncommentated Panon. He's done some really, really deep diving into this game's code, and it's just fascinating. Despite it being like effectively the first 3D platformer, sorry Bubsy, there's just a bunch of stuff, not even gameplay related. Like the RNG function is called all over the place for random stuff, like whether NPCs blink. So like Goombas, when they blink, is complete RNG. A few other things too is like you wouldn't expect there to be a function in the background for it, but there is. I also remember back whenever I think it was Black Ops 2 was announced, and Treyarch was freaking out about like, hey, look, this dog will follow you, and when you jump in the water, these fish will follow you. People were like, and they'd show videos of SM64, and the fish will follow you.
It's great.
But Copitz finally starting his Wet Dry World 100. At least, okay, Spider giving him decent RNG to start, about comparable with Drogie's. With Drogie, it was in the middle of his path. And so...
Copitz... I say Copitz said in chat, say good things about me in the commentary, please. Might be hard to do right now, though. So, you know, let you come in and say, you know, Copitz, you had very good RNG right now. That's one thing. And then I'll throw in, your gameplay is a bit better than your stream quality. Or your stream quality is a bit better than your gameplay. One of those two is at least better.
I think the latter is a pretty big insult, not gonna lie. And also Drogie coming in with the support that he likes Copitz, so if nothing else, Copitz, just know that one person likes you. And that should be enough, as long as that one person is you. Motivational speeches with GSA comms.
I was actually loving the banter in Copitz's Time Splitters 2 run.
Oh, that was beautiful. The whole run was great.
Like, I think if you were in the audience, though, and you have, like, no idea who these people are, because they're all SM64 pretty much, or, like, I guess Emily Midwest is, like, Pope's girlfriend and Pope's Majora's Mask, but still, like, general casual audience has no idea what's going on, but that still makes it, like, just as good when you do.
Same with the Bomberman run, like, even though no one on the couch knew what was going on with the game, I still think that had one of the best comms in the entire marathon.
Yeah, simply, you know, just rolls out of bed. He's like, all right, I gotta do Bomberman. And then
well, let's see, is he more bomb or more man? I should use that. Simply, if you're in
Pretty
chat,
much
please
it.
confirm that that's your thought process, because I'm really curious now. Anyway, maybe we should talk about the people playing. Both of them in THI now. And Drogie, you know, he's had a good, his secrets were good. Looks like he's doing well so far on the top of the Mountain Star.
Oh.
Not even going for Mountain Clip, which I don't blame him for. I mean, it doesn't save much time, and with his
Oh
clean
my
movement on
God,
the plank,
Copitz.
I don't think I've seen a speedrunner actually hit that cannonball in a very long time.
I don't think he hit the cannonball. I think he just bonked on this very short ledge. And I was, let's say, like, Copitz was having an alright secrets up to that point. You know, like obviously Copitz is off his game right now, but like he's had some good moments. You know, his LLL was pretty good, and like it just like some things like when Piracy goes that badly, it's hard to like point out like you know, where you can make up that kind of time. It's all about how Drogie is gonna play. If he's gonna make some mistakes, Copitz missing the pipe as well, or like he almost like fell off and died. Like
Right. I mean, it's
I'm almost.
a lot of Copitz's stars. It has been very difficult to pick out one thing that has caused the most time loss. It certainly does not look like the reversal of fortune has happened yet, or not fortune. I mean, it's just Copitz has needed to put his head on straight for the past 25 stars, and it just hasn't happened, unfortunately, which I can't blame him for. I mean, it's as critical as I've probably sounded throughout this race. It's really, I haven't meant it. It's really hard to, after making a big mistake, brush yourself off and forget about it. The human brain is just so good at focusing on things that you do wrong. And I'm not surprised that, especially knowing that Copitz probably sees his deficit at this point, it's got to be debilitating.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. And, you know, I think Copitz knows, but, you know, we don't mean any of this, like, personally. We're just trying to make a bit of entertainment. And, like, in case, you know, Drogie just keeps running away with it, you know, it's not gonna be like, oh, and Drogie wins the race. You know, they're gonna be like, hey, Copitz, let's have some fun, you know, do something well, do something bad, it's all good. Drogie off to a pretty decent TTM, though. And I think these log ball kicks have both gone pretty well. But he's gonna get extra lag here because he already did a scale the mountain. So luckily, he didn't actually mistime his wall kick.
You know, what is it that causes the extra lag? Is it like the monkey crate spawns there?
Yeah,
right?
It's the cage. And people are very confused why it's so laggy. Like, I don't really know, but that's what it is, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, because it should be like 6 polygon. Maybe the transparency partially does it, because the bars do have to be transparent, and I think the star is spinning. Who knows? Your commentator trying to just apply his intro comp sci class from who even knows how long ago, that knowledge, into his commentary. Copitz with a good mountain clip there, though. That's a trick that can just constantly give you trouble for no good reason. Oh, but not a good log kick. Man.
It was almost too good. He long jumped like so optimally, he didn't even hit the face that you can wall kick off of. He was too high. So Copitz gonna have to back it up with reds. Drogie had a really good red, so Copitz not only gonna be able to save time on this star in particular, but if he gets that side flip wall kick, he'll earn some style points in my book, you know. Actually pulling out a good coin maze.
Yeah, the maze itself was good. If it would have been red standalone, that'd be something to be proud of. But with the kick fail, that just kind of rains on the whole parade, unfortunately.
Yeah, we'll see if he can get this last mountain clip star, scale the mountain, where Drogie only needs to get the breeze. Oh, he's going for breezeless. Let's see if he can pull it off.
Very nice! Going right through the wall and everything. Sometimes you see people, like, they'll just do the half fence clip and still get inside, but man, that's beautiful when you see them go all the way in.
Yeah. I think that means you got, like, a first or second frame wall kick, usually.
I mean, it's the gameplay that Copitz has needed has all been on Drogie's side. And the way Copitz has needed Drogie to play to actually get a lead, Copitz has been playing. It's been entirely swapped of what it has needed to be.
I mean, be the change you want to see in the world.
I don't know if Drogie's watching this, so it could be a, you know, a bit misdirected effort there. The good
That's
breeze
true.
from Copitz there. I'm very glad that went well. I've seen a couple of people before that they'll go for the breeze strat and they'll just hit the fence the wrong way when they're entering that little cage, and they'll just clip right through and die. It's terrible to see.
Yeah. I think Cheese did on like a really good 120 pace as well. No one's immune to it.
Not
So
at
Drogie
all.
is busting out the SL Reds right here. You know, very clean. You know, as you would expect for someone who's put in like, seemed like in a good way, like an unreasonable amount of hours on SL Reds. Like, why would you spend so much time on it? Well, you can at
This
least
is why.
do it that well.
Yeah, why spend that much time on it? Because if you're in the middle of a race, you do CCM17, and you normally plan on double plus, and the first plus is just obnoxious, this is why.
Yeah. Copitz with a very interesting way to get to this star.
Yeah.
Like, he started by going for Snowman's big head, and then actually, like, bonked and fell down the slope, and then hit a spin drift, and then decided, like, alright, I'll just go for this star.
A very odd, awkward movement there, but he made it work. He must have practiced that back up a pretty decent number of times, because I don't think I've ever seen anyone move like that.
Maybe for Copitz?
Right. Not even as a backup. I've never seen that movement to grab that star.
Oh. Kind of like the more beginner strat.
Oh!
Copitz, no! That's heartbreaking! He was up there, he had the star within his grasp, but he rolled out off of the ledge.
Yeah, it looks like he slid under it. Which
You can't slide under that. He just was like, he was in his dive, but then his rollout, like once you roll out, you can't like ledge grab or dive or again or anything, you know. And he just went off the edge, which really sucks.
So much about this game's movement too just has to do with like landing on a pretty precise slope. Where, I mean, like, even though the game is fairly low poly, that's both like a strength and a weakness to an extent.
Yeah. Because, like, a lot of times the difference between surfaces isn't very obvious when you look at it. Like, in HMC, when you're on, like, the boulder pit, where we'll see Copitz go in just a second, there's some slopes that are very slippery, you'll, like, belly slide, and then some that are just, like, normal ground. And you kind of have to just know which ones they are, otherwise you'll probably die accidentally, but...
And
they
plus,
just look exactly the same. They're both like the same angle as well. Oh my god!
Oh, no!
That Lakitu bounce and got hit by the spiny.
that is the second time I've seen that, the Lakitu getting his revenge. He knows what's coming, and so he just throws that spine. But well, one thing that affects that too is this game. It's not like the textures. Oh, missing that red coin there. Is this the crack in Drogie's armor that Copitz has needed? Let's find out. This
Drogie
could be
missing
a
up
big
again.
development. So we could see one of two things. Either Drogie could just brush off this mistake, say, okay, it's over, I'm just gonna mentally reset, or we could see Drogie just fall apart and give Copitz the opening he desperately needs.
Yeah, it's never over until it's over, and Drogie has a lot of the hardest stars in the game left to do. Such as Lakitu bounce. And let's see if he can get it the second time around. That's a good choke on wall kick, at least he's not dying to that, and the wall kick here is the bounce actually. Oh my god,
no!
though.
That second kick not working out, and what is he do? Oh, he's not even gonna try for it another time.
Yeah.
Also, we should have said this earlier. A number of people in chat have been commenting, is Copitz playing on VHS or VCR or some combination of the two? His internet speed is very low, and so if you've ever heard people talk about streaming with a low bitrate, this is an archetypical example. His bitrate is probably like 300 or something right now. And so it's unfortunate that it's unfortunate that it looks that way, but it's necessary for him to be able to stream.
Yeah.
Drogie with the, I'm assuming, rage pausing? Don't know why else he would have paused like that there. Just, oh man.
I thought he did like side flip and then get like blown off of the cruiser or something, so I'm glad he didn't.
Yeah, that cruiser just not working out for him. So that's 2 stars in Rainbow Ride that have not gone well for Drogie. Copitz has been killing HMC too. Been focused a lot on Drogie's gameplay since he's obviously in RR, but Copitz, I think he's finally turning himself around. I'm going to be shocked, but also I think it's within the realm of possibility that Copitz could manage. Oh no, Copitz narrowly avoiding a death there, but definitely losing a pretty considerable chunk of time to that bonk there. I think just jumping way too early with that long jump, but
Yeah.
was in the middle of course, saying Copitz could manage to regain a lead if Drogie keeps playing this way in Rainbow Ride, but the tricky triangles have gone better for him, so it's really just down to whether this swinging in the breeze goes well as far as if he's able to, okay, moving right onto TTC. Meanwhile, Copitz is going to be moving into Rainbow Ride himself, so it all comes down to how Drogie performs in TTC first off. And, you know, we saw
And he
Drogie...
entered in... Oh, here we go. He's entered at slow time, though. He's not going to be able to do TTC 100. He's probably going to have to go for get a hand. Or maybe roll into the cage. One of those two. You don't want to go for, like, a pin in the pendulum or something, because that choke jump wall kick is not really viable. You have to kind of go this way around. Oh, he is. Okay. So Drogie's just going to take care of that one. It's not a bad choice. It's like, in the time moving, you're gonna have to do the stars a bit slower anyway, but pit in the pendulums, it's not that bad. But he's gonna lose a couple seconds here by having to wait for the clock.
Copitz, meanwhile, making his way upstairs, so it could potentially come down to this. TTC 100, we have seen, been the bane of so many runners' existence. Let's see if Drogie can pull this off. And if he does, it's pretty well easy street for him the rest of this race. Not to discount Bits or any of the other stars in this level, but I mean, this is pretty well your last huge, tremendous, like, cannonless tier challenge.
Yeah, Drogie was actually... Like, he missed a red, but this 100 coin's been really fast. He's been completely demolishing everything. The coin RNGs was pretty bad. But, like, everything was so awful, like, the way he ground pounded the blue coin switch and the way he was trying to do all the movements in the middle were really good.
And meanwhile, we've got Copitz with a first try
well.
Lakitu bounce. Okay.
This is scary, though. He could fall. Okay, he's good.
He's got that dive. One last jump that we've seen go wrong for some people. And he's good. He's got his 100. Now, Copitz has entered Rainbow Ride performing better than Drogie, so... Now the ball is pretty well in Drogie's court. It looks like Copitz is playing at the high level that he's needed to. Now it's down to whether Drogie can just finish out TTC. Which, you can't exactly do it flat.
Yeah.
Cleaner Red's movement as well. Copitz just killing Rainbow Red so far in every place that Drogie failed.
This is really, this makes you pretty optimistic, where if he can pull out, like, a fourth of a good run, you know, maybe he can do like half a good run next time, even if it's not even going to be a full run. That's really solid. But like, if you're improving like match to match, you can definitely go far in this league, because it's all about points at the end of the season. Oh, Drogie with a nice side flip wall kick to collect the 5th and 6th red coins, but Copitz taking a death. Drogie said he heard a cartridge tilt. Hopefully his game doesn't crash or something. Looks like he's fine.
We're gonna go ahead and take a save just to be safe, but Copitz with another death there, failing to get that ledge grab on the left side movement. Not sure why he's still going for tricky triangles left side. I believe that left platform is a bit harder to get onto than the right for some reason.
Yeah, you do need a slight angle on your long jump, and because you have to go at an angle that's a larger distance as well. Copitz, you know, not too happy about this. Can he make it the... Oh no! 3 times in a row.
That's a shame.
You say 3rd time's the charm, but, you know, 3rd time might be the time you just stop and move on.
You know, it might be the third time.
Like, he was doing great, but then it's like 1 star out of like 5 is just gonna be absolutely horrendous.
And but while we've been focused on that, Drogie too having a lot of trouble with the time jumps on moving bars despite them not even moving. Like he had to try for a little while to get up in that cage. I think he lost a decent 10 seconds, which is pretty rare for that star.
Yeah.
Copitz though finally managed to get his tricky triangles.
Drogie got pretty lucky on that start. He actually fell down trying to get rolled in the cage, but ended up landing in the get a hand area anyway.
I saw that. Your ability to kick does make that a bit easier to deal with, but still, I mean...
I'm not too confident about Copitz doing this triple jump. It's not that easy, but he got it. Okay.
Makes it look easy though, that is for sure.
That's
Showing
a
off.
bit of a relief.
Oh yeah. Showing off what I've always thought was a cool mechanic, how any jump really, it seems to count as a single jump. So for instance, by doing the side flip there, that's actually how you get your first jump out.
So Drogie here is going to be heading up into bits. He's on 50 pace, which would be pretty good, honestly. He's not had many drastic mistakes, a few little things, like maybe like 2 big things the whole run, you know, and it's like his PB is a 49, so this is probably as good as he could really expect to get. And if he can pull out a good bits, I think he can be pretty happy with how he's played today. Changing side camera, probably reducing a bit of lag. Go ahead.
Yeah, a 50 race time is nothing to sneeze at all.
Yeah, that'll take you really far in D2.
Meanwhile, we see Copitz making his way through TTC 100, picked up an extra coin somewhere along the line, not quite sure where, but I mean, Drogie's not leaving really any room for him to even attempt to catch up at this point. Goomba just staying way out of his way. Goomba definitely a Drogie fan. And Drogie is going in now to Bowser in the sky. The final fight. Question though.
To win, he has to miss 300.
Yeah, it'd be a lot of. It'd take a death, honestly, for him to fall back behind at this point. But taking advantage of those bomb hitboxes, he's already got 2 throws down. But it's worth questioning too. How does Bowser's back have that neon pattern, even though Mario looks exactly the same and there's no obvious light source?
Yeah, it's definitely supposed to look like some lighting effects here. What? Copitz actually doing a hop off of the pendulum. I was kind of taken aback by that.
I think he was trying to do the time moving movement for roll into the cage, but it wasn't happening. Because I saw him fall down through the moving platform, so I don't know how that happened. And taking a bonk and death right there too. That's, man.
This
so
is like
much
the kind of thing that you get out on, like, you know, if you did like a few days of derusting, but Copitz probably hasn't had the chance to, and like all those mistakes are just coming out when you really don't want them to. Which sucks, but kind of the reality of it is Drogie put together a pretty good race, and you know, Copitz may not have been able to win anyway, but you know, he's feeling really dejected about his gameplay, and I can understand for sure. Yeah, he says in chat it's the worst thing he's ever done.
Okay. It's also, I see some people in chat asking about Copitz's audio coming on stream. Unfortunately, Copitz's capture card does not have audio. In addition to his internet not being very good, apparently his capture card has a few issues that prevent audio from being sent our way. And I do have to personally apologize. A lot of you have been asking a bit about what the FCW by Drogie's name means. That is actually his team, his esports team, is FC Vessendogen. I hope that I'm not completely butchering that pronunciation.
Where did he say? FC... I think that was pretty close. Yeah, that was probably pretty good. That's good if he wants to come in for an interview.
Yeah, just reposted the name so you could see it as well. And we have Drogie in the chat with us. How are you feeling after that race, my man?
Hi everybody, I'm pretty happy. From what I've heard, it wasn't Copitz's best day, which is quite unfortunate. But yeah, after all, he just only recently became 13 years old, I guess. He's definitely up and coming. And in my age, he will have a crazy time and probably content world record. Which is, yeah, it's an honor. In 2 years, I'd be like, I won against Copitz 2 years ago.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, 2 years.
Advance.
The age of 15 can definitely make a lot of changes for a person, so.
Exactly. I mean, look at Luigi or Aki.
Good point there. Good point there. Now, is there any stage that you're particularly proud of here? Because I mean, there was a lot of just top-notch gameplay coming from your side. In particular, that breezeless was just beautiful.
Well, thanks. Yeah, I was pretty happy with upstairs. I think it's the best upstairs I had in quite a long while. Overall, it was quite solid. In basement too, I realized after SL, I looked at the timer for the first time, and I realized I was like only 20 or 25 seconds behind my best run ever. It was like, oh my god, I can still 49 quite easily. But then that lucky to bounce, those fails happened, and I was like, yeah, no, this star is probably cursed. I shouldn't go for it again.
Yeah, that was obviously we've seen so many Lakitu bounce fails in races, but I don't think I've ever seen 2 in a row like that. I've seen that shell snipe once before, only once before.
Yeah.
And I've never seen someone come back after that and have that second kick fail. So real unfortunate, but I mean, you picked back up really, really well afterward, I have to say.
Thank you. Oh yeah,
Also,
I bonked on the backup too, which was like, that shouldn't ever happen if you ledge right before it, but yeah, it was just cursed.
Yeah.
Whole Rainbow ride was cursed.
I would say earlier, like, you didn't have like that great of a WOMS either. It was just like from then on, like, you only made a couple mistakes where you actually lost a lot of time.
Yeah, I guess I was nervous in the beginning and got kind of nervous again at the end, just like in the last race, but this time I didn't mess up as bad. Like, right now, life as a Mario runner is quite hard, since being a runner includes running Pokemon Snap too, and right now I have to juggle Pokemon Snap and SM64, try to stay good at both games, which is kind of hard, but Liam motivates me to keep playing both.
Okay.
Well, that's really awesome to hear that you have that motivation to maintain that practice schedule for both of those games. Because I don't know how intense Snap is, but this game, of course, is just known for being one of the most ridiculous speed games with how optimized it is, really. So, I mean, shout outs to that. That is pretty awesome.
Thanks. They both take quite a lot of time. Yeah.
And of course, we did already see Pity and a couple of others, jabbing at Copitz a little bit for losing to a Snap runner. But
Oh yeah. Speaking of Pity, I have to give him a shout out. He was begging on Discord in the DM, please give me a shout out, and he sent the Pokemon Snap emote.
Okay.
So Pity,
Just
I know
might as
you're
well
in
honor
chat. There's your shout out. No more DMs. And we see Copitz here finishing up his run, 56-28. I mean, with how bad a lot of things have gone, this is a good time. With all the stuff that okay, with having to take the L and grab the shell, a 56 is acceptable.
I'm gonna use that
And-
line like all the time now, I guess. Hey,
Here's
Copitz,
the
my
man
you know,
gosh.
commiserations on the loss. You know,
Hey,
I know it
thanks.
wasn't the time you wanted. Have you been able to play very much recently, or was this kind of like you kind of came into it cold?
I mean, if you want the excuses, it's the end of this semester, and I had a lot of work to do recently, and also I'm still not used to this controller, but I mean, I feel like it's almost impressive to have a time like 6 minutes off my PB, so.
Yeah, I mean, certainly it seemed every place that there was a bit of momentum pickup, there was just an immediate, just huge mistake. I mean, how
Yeah.
were you able to even try to like just get out of that funk of, man, I just keep making these huge mistakes?
I don't know, like, that's never gotten to me too much, like, and I just kind of pushed through it, I guess. I don't know. There were some really stupid things, though, like, the red coin and Fire Sea, like that's probably the dumbest thing I've ever done. Or continuing to go for the tricky the left side tricky triangles. When like that is very angle dependent, and this controller is not. It's a new controller, so.
Right. Now, with all that being said, is there any particular star that you're just like, I can't believe that actually went well throughout all of this?
Did one go well?
There were a couple.
Yeah, I don't know, maybe Lava Boost or something.
That Lava Boost
Oh,
was
it was
beautiful,
pretty
though.
solid.
We'll definitely have
Yeah.
to go with that. Well, GG's to both of you guys. Sorry about that. Just unfortunate set of mistakes, but I'm sure the next race will be.
Sorry.
You'll be a lot more used to that controller. I'm sure. Definitely.
Yeah,
I mean,
I'll
this
have time to
game.
play now.
Yeah, that's definitely looking forward to your next race. And Drogie, congrats on that win.
Thank you
Beautiful
so much.
gameplay.
Thank you
GG,
so much.
Drogie.
I want to quickly say Copitz is definitely one of the best of the league, so watch out for him. Everybody else in Division 2. Goodbye.
So, Patronus, it's been a pleasure as always, and everyone stick around for the SMO race just right after this. And thanks for watching.
See you around.